So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello everybody and welcome to Friday night. Welcome to Friday Night Lights. Welcome to the team sheet tantrum of Aston Villa versus Sheffield United, and I suppose the gateway to Christmas for an awful lot of people, and specifically for those, I suppose, that celebrate. I'm over the moon because I've just finished work and I'm as happy, regardless of anything that could go on in the world. I'm off for the next week in 2 days, so I am as happy as a pig in the proverbial. So hopefully this match tonight is going to make my smile absolutely crack my face. I'll be so happy later on, because Aston Villa take on Sheffield United, and you know, we all know what the carrot is for this team. And Paddy, I spoke about the carrot for this team in the last game as well against Brentford. That carrot is an awful lot bigger and it's an awful lot shinier tonight, I think.
Well, look, it may only be a short-term carrot, but it'll be well enjoyed for anybody of the claret and blue persuasion. And I, for one, will enjoy every second of it for whatever long it lasts. But the most important thing is that we oversee what needs to be done tonight. And that has to be the sole focus, and just hope we have a decent team ready to go out and a team ready to fight. And the 12th man in the stand ready to roar us on and really make it rocking today, because that's what it's going to need.
Absolutely. And as I say, you know, there's going to be 42,000 expectant fans, 42,000 joyous fans, 42,000. Well, a good 20 or 30% of those 42,000 will have probably broken up for Christmas today, and might have had a couple of libations or two in the great pubs around Villa Park and around the greater Birmingham area prior to it. So it's one of the games that I actually had circled that if I potentially could go to, I would have gone to this one, because I've never been to Villa Park under Friday Night Lights, and this one tonight, with Christmas on the horizon, regardless of whatever comes from this at final whistle, with Christmas even in the horizon on this one, you know, I think it's going to be a special night, and I think, you know, all eyes on Villa as well, because there's no other game in the Premier League tonight. All eyes on Villa and Sheffield United, should I say? So there's a real opportunity. There's a real sense of opportunity. No matter what you look at today, and for both teams, you know, I think there's a real sense of opportunity, and it's who's going to take that opportunity and who's going to be, you know, more coherent on the pitch. And I want to say thanks to Matt Hanlon as always. Matt, thank you so much for this. He says, points for podcasters. We'll be on a plane in 3 hours, and this may tempt me to actually try the expensive Wi-Fi. Hopefully Villa gives me no cause to swear mightily in flight. 2-0 to Villa with Ramsey and Diaby, he hopes. And Damien is repping the podcast with his stylish For the Love of Paul McGrath hat as he trundles from the Barton Arms to the Sacred Heart. I love to see it. Tonight, you might need the beanie hat tonight. It's a bit cold out there. It's a bit nippy, I'd say. So well done, and thanks so much for supporting the podcast as well. Paddy, we've kind of been given, I suppose, spoilers. Adam, good to see you, Adam, on a flight to Aston, Texas from England. So hopefully the Wi-Fi works. You might be going the opposite way to Matt Hanlon there. You know, the two of you might be like ships in the night, but hopefully the Wi-Fi does work. But Paddy, I was saying there that we've kind of been given a spoiler alert as to what the team is going to be. You know, Unai Emery is telegraphed that Longley is going to play today. So to me would mean that Konsa is going to be at right back. And realistically, I suppose the only two positions that are up for grabs for me at the moment are who's going to play wide left, who's going to play wide right. Because if Bailey plays wide right, Diaby goes up top. Or if Bailey is up top and he goes with Ramsey and Zaniolo wide left and wide. If he goes with Ramsey and Zaniolo wide left and wide right, I think Diaby's up top. So it's going to be interesting. That triangle of players is really what we're looking at, I think, for tonight, because the rest of the team kind of picks itself at the moment.
It does kind of pick itself, given the injuries and suspensions that are there. I'm interested to see more than anything what he decides to do at central midfield, defensive central midfield specifically. So, it's going to be as you were, you would imagine. I would imagine it would be Ramsey on one side, Bailey on the other. If Bailey is fully fit to start a game, I would imagine after his inclusion from the bench at the weekend, I'm sure he's fine at this stage. So fingers crossed that Bailey's on a great run of form at Villa Park. I think he's been involved in goals in the last 6 or 7 games or something I read today. So yeah, that's where my, if he starts today, that's where my money is going on him to score today, because he's in flying form, unexpected flying form, as we've said all along, and fair play to him. I hope he goes on and becomes an absolute star, because he's put the work in now and it's paid off, and he's up to speed, and here we are looking for him to play, where in the past I hold my hands up and go, I hope Bailey's not playing. So here we are now, and I hope he is playing, and I hope he has an absolute tonking game today.
Yeah, he's been very much so. I'm not going to call him a clutch player, but he's been a player who's come up and like Ollie Watkins has. I was reading the statistic. I think this is correct from memory. I think Ollie Watkins has scored 8 goals in the year 2023 that have contributed to wins. So they've been winning goals 8 times, which is huge. Like, you just doing the maths there, that's 24 points out of 81 that we've won so far. Have directly come from Ollie Watkins winning goals, which is a huge amount. What I'd say about Bailey is Bailey's one of these players that either ignites the fire with regards to a goal. Obviously, his goal against Man City ignited it as well. But what he's also done is he's also cropped up with goals that have kind of knocked the stuffing out of teams. And what I mean by that is they're the goal that's kind of, if a team has been getting back into it, he's come on late, he's skipped inside, he's pummeled one in the back of the net. And it's kind of put it out of somebody's mind that damn, we thought we could come back at 1-0, but at 2-0 now with 10 minutes to go, it's going to be very difficult. And you have to say that role of a player, like almost like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I know they're 2 completely different players, but when like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer used to come off, and he's probably the most famous proponent to this, he'd come off the bench and he would be the fella who'd be putting his foot in your head to keep you down, and Bailey's been very much like that. But as I say, when he started games as well, he's been really good this season. So I echo exactly what you said there, Paddy, too, and he potentially could be playing, could be starting from the start. I think we might have a team. Yes,
we certainly do.
We have a team there, and let me pop this up on screen. And Mr. Bailey, after all our talk, is starting today. So the team is, and we got it wrong. We said the back four pretty much picked itself, but it's not. It didn't. Martinez, Cash, Konza, Longley, Dina, Bailey, McGinn, Douglas Luiz, Jacob Ramsey, and Diaby and Watkins. So I didn't expect Cash to play this game. I thought they would keep Konza right back. Maybe bringing Konza into the centre alongside Longley just gives it that small bit of stability from the point of view of Carlos and Longley. I don't know. But look, either way, it's a positive, I think, having Ezri Konza in there. And then the bench looks like Philip Marshall, Diego Carlos, Alex Moreno, Chambers, Zaniolo, Duran, Dendonker, Young Tim, and Young Tommy on the bench. Tommy O'Reilly's on the bench as well. Great to see those 2 young players making it onto the bench as well. So there's some bit of homegrown talent sprinkled in there amongst all the big international names. So yeah, I have to say, look, that team is as good as we could put out. It really, really is as good as we could put out. I know we can talk about Cash and Konza and Diego Carlos and that triangle there as well, but every single one of those players that's out there in that field is well good enough to go and take this game at home to Sheffield United. And I hope we do that, and I hope we score early.
Yeah. I'm wondering, is the inclusion of Cash a decision to prepare for Man United on Tuesday? We were on something the other night, and I saw these members coming up, and I wondered what they were, and I just saw the first member. Is that our first member?
I think that's our first member. That was something that was activated ages ago, if I'm not mistaken. And so Sub Home Gamer has become a member of the podcast. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. And look, it's attacking. We're obviously going to. I'm presuming he's going to play the 2 holding 6s as McGinn and Luis. with whoever decides to carry the ball and the other one sit. Ramsey off the left, Bailey off the right, and Diaby and Watkins up front. I can't see it any other way. Can you?
No, I can't. I think Diaby off Watkins, and then, as you are in midfield, it does give us the option, though, I suppose, really to swap and change Diaby and Bailey, and maybe swap their wings, bring Ramsey and Luis and McGinn into a tighter three in middle midfield. The options are there. Also, we don't really have the option without Kamara there to drop him back into midfield, into a back three, and let Cash and Dina go into the kind of wing back formation. We don't really have that option, but I wouldn't rule it out if Douglas Luiz is playing as the six there, that Luiz does drop back in between the two centre halves, or even closer to them, and McGinn and Ramsey come tighter with Cash and Dini a small bit further forward. It's a potential. It's something that could happen, but I don't expect it. At home, we've really stuck to the 4-4-2, and that 4-4-2 has allowed us to build attacks, to drive attacks, and to score goals, because we're one of the better teams at scoring goals in the Premier League, and as we've scored the most goals in the first half at home in the Premier League this season. So it's crazy. It's incredible, and I hope tonight is no different.
Yeah, there's a few people mentioning Clement Longley in the comments. I'm absolutely not worried about Clement Longley. He's a smashing footballer. I enjoyed watching him from behind the goal against Warsaw. Seems like a long time ago. It was only a few weeks ago. And a big man that I wasn't expecting to be so big. So absolutely no problem with him in there. I actually hope that he sticks around the squad. I think he could be very important to us in the new year, unless there's plans to replace him if we do allow him to go back. Obviously, I totally get what they're saying about not having enough game time under his belt. Here's his chance. Go and prove what you can do there, because you could see yourself in that position in Old Trafford on Tuesday night. So it's there to be grabbed with both hands, and I've absolutely no problem with him being there.
Yeah, Lee Meredith has asked for Pau Torres. Pau had a bit of a knock. Hopefully he'll be back for the United game on Stephen's Day, but he was touch and go all this week, so that's where Pau Torres is. Thanks you so much. Thanks so much to all the people who've signed up as members. This is mad. Thanks to C. Lion, thanks to David Dwyer, and thanks to Villa Down Under, who's gifted 5 memberships as well. That's incredible. Thank you so much. And to Jay Hunt, thanks Neil and Paddy for another year of great content. Living in New York, I won't make it back to Brum this year, but a family there tonight to hopefully see Villa go top up the Villa. And thank you so much, Jay, for that. I really appreciate it. Paddy, before we go any further, actually, I think it's probably better that we say it now than waiting until later. There was a gentleman that reached out to us. I don't know if he still has these tickets left, but his name is Robert Parker. I'm going to retweet his tweet now. He has an adult and a child ticket for tonight's game. The only problem is you're going to have to meet him at Villa Park before kickoff, which is in 55 minutes time. So I'm going to quote tweet it again. Looking for 2 tickets for tonight. So he asked us to give a shout out if there was anyone in and around the area that was listening. If you know of anybody who can make it to Villa Park in the next 55 minutes, I don't know why I looked at my watch, because I don't have a watch on, but the next 55 minutes, there's potentially tickets there with Mr. Robert Parker. You'll see his tweet on our timeline as well. I suppose it's better to do it now than it is to do it later on when everybody maybe finished and you may not have time to get there. So so that's an interesting one. Unai Emery says a win today for Villa surpasses the best run of Man City under Pep Guardiola and 2 wins beyond Manchester United's record. Merry Christmas. That is a great point. It's something I'd written down here as well. We would surpass Pep Guardiola's best ever win record at home, and we'd only be 2 behind Sir Alex. So that's bonkers. Like two managers who are considered the best in recent. I see the way I've phrased this now: the best in recent times, Paddy, as opposed to going back to the Cloughs and the Shankleys and the and the like that we. Because I got the comments went mad one day when I said that Ancelotti and Ferguson were probably the 2 best managers of all time, and then of course Shankly came up and Jack Steen and Clough.
You gave me a red rag and the bull took off. That's what happened.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so like that would be amazing. That really, really would be absolutely incredible if that was to happen. And look, it's part of the fairy tale because Paddy, and I know we haven't done an awful lot of talking on the team, and we'll bring up Sheffield United's team in a moment, but Like when the Super League news came out yesterday, I was reading it and my heart didn't do anything. Like I just didn't care. And the reason I didn't care was, and I put up a tweet and I said, there will be a time to talk about the Super League if it actually becomes a thing, because I never felt that the second iteration of the Super League was going to be as potent as the first, because that league system is a lot of balls. But anyway, we won't get into it. We won't talk about it now. But the reason I said is just let me go and enjoy Aston Villa this year, because we're bloody exciting. And the Super League can do whatever it wants. But like, the domestic league for me and something that's happening with Aston Villa this season. This is why domestic leagues are so important. The likes of ourselves, the likes of Union Berlin, the likes of Girona on top of La Liga. I'm not going to say the establishment is being overturned, but there's a mid-table team having a crack off a lot of these leagues so far this year. In the big five leagues,
everything is changing. I believe,
and that's why
it's taken a few years, but finally, we're seeing the introduction of VAR becoming a table leveler for everybody, and that little bit of extra nous that you had by bullying referees and bullying officials is gone. You're not getting away with it anymore. So there's big teams dropping points left, right, and centre. So it's ours to go and grab them. So if we keep going tonight, we go top of the league. We pray for a 0-0 draw tomorrow. Another boring 0-0 draw involving Liverpool would be nice. And we can all go and celebrate Christmas top of the tree.
And look, I won't get to go out an awful lot over Christmas. Tomorrow night, I'm going hell for leather. Please turn off post notifications if you have them on for the podcast, because I will not be liable for anything I will say after that Liverpool and Arsenal game, if that does finish in a draw, because I'll be heavily medicated at that stage.
Well, look, let's get through tonight. Be that
absolutely, 100%. But that's just regardless, tomorrow I'll be heavily medicated. But the Sheffield United team is out. And we have West Fotheringham in goals, Bogle and Baldock, the two centre halves, Jack Robinson, Trusty, and sorry, I can't read that. It's all skewed on my end. I don't know if you guys can see it. Larouci, Norwood, Vinny Souza, Slimani, Archer, and Brooks. So, yeah, for me, it's I suppose the two centre. It's a three at the back. It seems to me, with Robinson, Trusty, Larouci probably playing in the back three, with Baldock and Bogle either side of them. Norwood and Vinny Souza in kind of a midfield two, probably with Slimani and Archer or Brooks playing off Archer. I'm not 100% sure. I would imagine that's probably how they'll set up. Actually,
it does look like a five, and they've dropped McAtee out of there, which I'm happy to see. So hopefully we can go and we can get an early goal and not have to worry about him coming off the bench. So it certainly looks like a five. Vinny Souza will probably sit in front of them. Look, there's nothing there to worry us. I don't believe there's anything there to worry us, or like I don't think I even need to ask you the question, would any of them get into our team, because I think I know your answer.
And I kind of half answered it. I half answered it in the preview. There's two players that would get into our squad, and I think Bogle would get into our squad. There's just watch him go out and have a stinker tonight, and hopefully he does. But there's just something about him I like as a wing back. That's why when they're in a five like this, I think it protects him an awful lot. And obviously Baldock, when they were in the Premier League last time, Baldock was just like the source of all their goals. Long throw, if I'm not mistaken, and a decent delivery into the box as well. So there's a couple of things, like obviously score first, score early and score often will be Villa's assignment tonight, I think. And their bench is Davies, Lowe, Fleck, Hammer, McBurney, Traore, Thomas, Osborne, and McAtee. It's interesting for me that McBurney and Hammer aren't playing there. I thought that McBurney would be a shoe-in to try and maybe bully centre halves, and that Hammer would play there as well.
Especially with Clement Longley playing his first game, first Premier League game, and they would have kind of known that was coming. And you would have expected him, McBurney, to go and stand on his toes and elbow in the ribs all night long. But thankfully, that's not the case. And look, there's nothing like the two people I would have worried about would have been McBurney and McAtee. Obviously, Cameron Archer is going to look to have a great night tonight on his return. And I won't begrudge him of it as long as we win the bloody match. So
Yeah.
if we do see his bow coming out at one stage, that's fine as long as we score one more than them.
Yeah. Can I just point out something here that's annoying? And I know, look, my thumbnails are nothing to write home about, but somebody here forgot to remove the background on the Aston Villa crest, and that's literally why it was annoying me when I was trying to read it a while ago. I was like, that's annoying me now, the fact that they didn't get rid of the background. So hopefully the attention to detail isn't there on the field, just like it doesn't seem to be there off the field as well. From a Sheffield United point of view, but it's a huge.
I'm just after noticing there. Ahmed Hodzic is missing.
Oh, he is. Yeah, the guy who I said would actually probably, I like did
into our squad, but much didn't want to.
Yeah, I said just as a player he seems okay, but as a person, I don't know, does he float my boat in that aspect? But yeah, he's not there at all, and good call because I completely missed that. Completely missed it. Did I go through our bench? I think I did. Yeah, because young Tim and young Tommy are there.
There's a lot of talk in the comments about Robin Olsen being missing again. We obviously haven't been told what the situation is, whether it's been decided that that's his loss, and we have a ready and able replacement in there should we need him, or if there is some kind of knock or issue with injury that we haven't heard about. So nobody knows. Nobody has asked the question in any interview that I've seen, and maybe that's one for Jacob Tanswell or John Townley to ask on their behalf. We'll see
and I wonder, look, we know he's had a son recently, or he's had a child recently. Maybe, look, you hate asking or positing these questions or whatever, but maybe the child was early. Maybe, there's lots of family reasons and stuff like that might be there. Hot Text Hayes asks, you guys agree with Dina starting over Moreno, Paddy? Do you agree with that? I probably do in this game.
Yeah. Simple reason, and I think I've been vindicated in this is because if we're going to be putting balls into the box against the back five, we're better off with Dina doing it from distance than Moreno trying to get into the box and try and beat two players in order to get the ball across. So for me, absolutely, if it's not working out, bring him on after 60 minutes, 70 minutes to change up the method of attack. Or if we're behind, certainly he'd be someone to get at them and maybe win free kicks and whatever. But I think Tuesday night would be a much better day for him.
Yeah. As Sai says here, remember when Dendonkers Mrs. said the baby, he was off for quite a while as well. Maybe the club are honouring the
big difference here is that Dendonkers was pre-season. Isn't that right? Didn't he go home during the trip to America?
I think
anyway,
did,
Jason O'Brien's is asking, will VAR play a part tonight? I tell you what's going to happen tonight. There is somebody down kicking balls into the whole den, making sure that enter is bloody working tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was reminded of something else today. While they bitched and moaned about that goal, I was reminded of the time that Billy Sharp kicked the ball out of Orion Nyland's hands, and nobody ever mentions it. Nobody ever says it.
I saw it today. Aston Villa had the had highlights of previous games, and I remember that, and I went, oh yeah, obviously they showed the game of Andre Green heading the ball, and immediately I went to Wikipedia to figure out how many games he played for Villa. I never knew he played 40 league games for Villa and scored 2 goals. Andre Green. I would not, if we were in Chad's quiz and that was a question, I would have said 10 games for Villa he played. 40. Well, that's a fair innings for somebody who kind of dropped out of English football really for a period, went to Slovan Bratislava and is now back with Rotherham, I think, in the Championship. So,
and if you'd asked me how many games he played and how many goals he scored, I would have said he played 1 and scored 1, because that's the only game I can remember him playing in.
Yeah.
And it's look, I had great hopes for him, and it's a pity he's not still around and doing his thing, because I thought he would have developed into a really good footballer, and who knows, maybe he still will. Del Boy wants me to discuss this one. It's going to be short and sweet. In my opinion, the best referee in the Premier League is on the pitch tonight, so I have no qualms with that whatsoever.
Bet you weren't expecting that. Expecting that one. That's it, Paddy. Butter him up before the game. Butter him up. They're all the best referee if we go top of the league tonight. They're all the best referee.
Exactly.
And John Brooks, our lucky ref, is the VAR in the cupboard as well, as Si says. So yeah. As I say, it's look. I text Paddy today, and I said, actually, I'll read it out word for word if I can, if it isn't too X-rated. What did I say? I said, I'm fairly looking forward to this tonight. Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. The bastards better not let me down now. That's what I text Paddy, and I still am really looking forward to it. And look, come hell or high water today, if it's a 1-1 draw, yes, I'd be disappointed, but it's not the be-all and end-all. Realistically, it's the screenshot of us being top of the league would just be so class at Christmas time. And it's novelty, and it's brilliant. And don't get me wrong, I back it like the post-match podcast will be raucous if we win tonight. I can tell you that. It'll be whiskey-fueled later on. And that's a promise. But if we don't win as well, it's not going to be like it'll be a missed opportunity, but there's so much to look back on in 2023. We are the best team in world football in 2023. Like the most improved team. Okay, we'll call it the most improved team. I did get ahead of myself with that one. The most improved team in world football in 2023. Like, yeah, look, you know, it's incredible.
We can have all the records that you want throughout a league, but at the end of the day, when it comes to May, that's when the proof is in the pudding. And if we're in the top 4 and we're in a cup final or something like that, then we can start patting ourselves on the back. But for now, we'll just enjoy it. We'll hope for the best. And look, if you put the points tally from 2023 into a league season, we're going to finish in the top 4, and that's all we can base it on for now. So we've just got to keep plugging away, and especially in games like tonight when we're expected to win, we need to win. It's all very well beating Arsenal and beating Man City. If we go out and lose this tonight, it really puts us on the back foot.
Yeah. As I say, well, it doesn't put us in the back foot, but it's a dampener. It's a dampener to if we. Yeah,
we've got 3 games in a week, so we need the points on the board.
Yeah,
because people are going to drop points. We know Arsenal are playing. Not that I'm particularly worried about Arsenal and Liverpool. I still believe both will finish ahead of us, but it's the one behind. You know, we need to beat the likes of Man United to keep them at arm's length. We just need to keep winning games to keep all of those people out of our hair and put us in a position to give us any opportunity to get into the Champions League. That's what we're going to need to do. This is the business end of it now. When you get 3 games like this, 2 really winnable games and a tough game at Old Trafford. If we're looking back now on New Year's with 9 points in the bag from this week, people are going to be seriously considering us as nailed on for Champions League, because you know form is there, and it's not temporary form. This is form that's going on over a year. So fingers crossed that we're all happy and looking into a very prosperous new year with European football to look forward to in March as well, and FA Cup obviously that we're still in for now.
And as I say, we're very, very hopeful in the game tonight. Everybody, if you want to start popping in your score predictions into the comment section below, we'll go down through them. I suppose just to finish off here, Paddy, you know, last time we were out, I spoke about Diaby maybe needing to have a game because he started off like with his hair on fire, you know, when he first came into the club. Then he got injured and you know, he's come up with a couple of assists since, but you know, he's been in and out of the team, and I'm not going to say that he's been found out, as I said before, but I think, you know, sometimes the pace of the league can catch up with you, specifically if you're coming off something like a back injury and things like that. I've got really high hopes for him tonight, specifically playing against the back 5 or back 3, whichever way you want to look at it. I think there's going to be pockets in front of that back 3 for him to get at, because they're going to need to like Aston Villa are going to need to find those areas. And last year when Unai Emery played, that's where we got an awful lot of promise from, was there Buendia dropping into that pocket in front of the centre halves behind that the number 6, and making sure that people had to get turned, whether had to either come to get him at an angle, or else the central midfielder had to get turned. Football is all about getting your player, like, you can talk about lovely flowing passing moves and everything like that, but the reason that lovely flowing passing moves happen is because people have to turn around. And if you can get more and more players turned at any given time so they don't have to front you up, you have a better chance of manipulating the ball forward and obviously scoring a goal. So when we do come up against teams that are playing 3/5 at the back and with a sitting midfielder in there, it's super important that that person playing off Watkins can do that, can drag players left and right, can get them looking for them. You know, the last thing you want to be doing as a player, as a defender, is looking for who the hell is, where's he gone to? You know, that's panic. There's no other way. There's like, you've got John Terry there behind you. John Terry was probably the best at it, but that's because he kept everybody in front of him, and people very rarely got behind him. And you know, the reason is because if you lose track of somebody, it's very simple. Like, the game is simple. If you lose track of somebody, or if you can force a maneuver or force a way to make the person that's supposed to be tracking you or spying on you lose track of you, it's immediate panic. Like, it just is. And it's the easiest way to cause consternation, because does somebody go, does somebody not go, there's hesitancy, and then you always have that 1 foot up. And the reason that I went into detail on that is because Diaby has to be that man for me tonight with this setup of this team. I think he has to be that man, and I think he will be. And I've just got a sneaking suspicion he gets the first goal tonight, and I just think tonight might be set up for him. I don't know. I've nothing to base it on other than my own feeling in my own waters, but I just feel it tonight for him. I do.
I am going to have to let you run through. I didn't want to stop you while you were in full flight there, but I'm
you got to go. You have a boozer to get to.
I have a lift waiting outside the door. Before I go, I'm going to make a prediction that somebody brings home a match ball tonight.
Oh, there's going to be a hat trick.
I can't say who, but I just have a feeling that tonight is the night for a hat trick. But on the other hand, I would take a 1-0 win right now, and I would make no apologies for only beating these 1-0. But absolutely, I'm going to give you my predicted score, which is 4-1. And okay, I'll call it out. Bailey is going to score, and Ollie Watkins is going to score a hat trick. There you go.
We'd all be delighted with that.
Up the Villa.
Up the Villa, Paddy. We'll see you later. Mind yourself. All the best. So we're going to go down through the scores here. Jordan Levy says 3-1 Villa. Where else are we? Brazilian Lions going for 3-1 Villa. Jason O'Brien going for 2-1. Jeffrey going for 2-0. KK going for 5-0. Bongo going for 6-1. Villa Down Under is going with 3-2. Western Ood 3-2. Lena Peterson going with 3-2. 2-1 says Sewer Sounds, and Sniff Rack going for the same. Subhome Gamer going for 3-0 with C Line Eye going for 4-1. Archer to score for them because it's Christmas. David Dams going with 3-1. Tony Hannon 6-0 statement win. Michael McCarthy Smith going for 2-1 Villa. Jason O'Brien also going 2-1. Simon Kenny 3-0, as does David O'Dwyer with 3-0, as does Michael Collins with 3-0. Michael O'Brien says 4-0. Richard Edwards says 3-0. Bongo's come back in with 15-0. Always reminds me of those World Cup qualifiers that Australia used to play against teams like Vanuatu and American Samoa, and you'd always see ridiculous scorelines like that. Matt Hanlon going for 2-0. Tyra Roblox is going for 4-0. Sports Daily CBB is going for 4-0. Kat Cannon 2-1. Shane Coleman 3-0. Rob Henry 4-0. Dan Downey 3-0. US Crits going with 5-1. Terry Morris 4-1. Junior Bennett 3-0. Bear in the Garden 3-0. Hot Tex Hyla is going for 5-0. Bubblegum is going for 2-1. Villainous Celt is going for 7-0 by half time. Mad Villain is going for 3-1. Where else are we? Raphael is going with 3-0. 5-1 says Cadbros. 1-1 says Nicole. Be Happy says 3-1. 5-0 says Johnny Boy. Bertie W saying 3-0. Jared Curran 3-1. Paul S 6-0. Manuel Ballesteros going 5-0. 4-0 says Dan Pillow, and AVFC 666 says 5-1. Some pretty confident people in the chat room there. And look, I suppose, as I always say with this, if there are any Sheffield United fans watching here, as a football club, we are not really in a position to gloat, but what we are in a position to be really happy with how our football team, and really optimistic with how our football team is playing. So I know a lot of people, because sometimes I look back at the comments afterwards, and you know, specifically things like the Forest game, the Bournemouth game, the Wolves game, and sometimes the opposing fans come in and give a bit of stick in there. But like, before any game, you guys should be optimistic of beating Aston Villa today, and we should be optimistic of beating you guys today. And that's the beauty of football, and that's why we all watch it, and that's why we're all football fans. And Aston Villa are having a smasher of a season, and we are going to be optimistic about winning this game tonight under lights just before Christmas with a massive carrot in front of us and the league's best home record. So hopefully our beautiful heroes in field in claret and blue can bring this one over the line and get us to the top of the summit, because it would be something very, very special considering where we came from 14 months ago, where this club was under Steven Gerrard. So with that, everybody, I am going to leave you go a small bit earlier today. I never gave you my prediction. My prediction for tonight is 2-0 for Aston Villa. I just think that there is very much so an opportunity for Aston Villa today, and I think they're going to be workmanlike. I think they're going to be professional, and I think they're going to try and own the ball, score early, and then hopefully we get another one then to put the game to bed. But just before I do go, there's a couple of people I didn't thank. Guys, thank you so much for becoming members. Matt Hanlon, Melty Shirts, Aurelio Gomez, Paul O'Neill, and Villa Down Under gifted another 5 subscriptions and memberships as well there. So thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate that for the show. It's just incredible. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I really do. So thanks so much, everybody. I hope you enjoy the game, and I hope you join us again for the post-match podcast. Oh, I can't go anywhere. Wait a minute. I need to throw you guys into Dale. Just give me 2 seconds. Talk amongst yourselves there while I set up so that this goes to Dale's, to AVFC Stato's watch along. I think Dave thinks Stato is doing a watch along tonight. I should have really asked him. Don't mind me. Bum, bum, bum. Yes, because I want to throw you all into Stato, because as I say, as you know, Dale is one of the good guys, and with regards to watch alongs, it doesn't look like he's doing one today. Well, he doesn't have one up there anyway. So apologies, Dale, if you did have one, I couldn't find it there. But as I say, I hope you guys, if you are watching this, or if you are watching the game afterwards, you come back and you join us for the post-match podcast right on the final whistle, and hopefully we're going to be celebrating. Either way, we will be talking about how fantastic the run is that we've had in 2023. And hopefully we'll be celebrating something a small bit more. But thanks very much, everybody, for watching and for listening. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.